course.
Takes a few
with
seconds.
YouTube, yeah. And this time, hopefully, podfeed.com/live should work.
Well, podfeed.com has to work.
Yeah.
Which is a stretch.
Okay. All right. We are live on YouTube.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Allison, how are you doing tonight?
Why can I hear my own voice, Steve?
Sound is still coming out of my...
Maybe...
one of my Macs as well as my headphones.
Oh, maybe that's it. It's because you've got two Macs going.
No, I just have one. I mean, it's coming out of one of my displays. It must be my iMac. Let me try this. How about now?
Talking?
Yeah, it is. So let me turn down my Mac volume.
Marty's back. All right. It looks like Alan's not here, so I'm going to start roll call. So, Steve, if you listen carefully, you'll know when to bring in our mystery date game. He's not listening.
I'm listening.
Okay. Are you ready? Tonight we have Kevin and Bruce and Jason and Frank and Jill and Ed and Rose and Mike Price and Rick and Sandy and Steve and Michael and Alan snuck in. He could have been on time almost for roll call. Wheels is not here. Anybody in the sidebar? Let's see. Did I call out Jill, Ed, Nuclear John, who's not really here, I don't think, and Barry Falk, who is actually in the house.
Welcome, Barry.
Well, hello, everybody.
He's literally in the house.
Yes, I'm in the house. Fun.
Actually, now you're talking in Discord as well.
Oh,
so now say hi again.
He doesn't. I don't think he is talking in Discord. I don't see him.
Mute.
Oh no, you can't hear him in Discord. Yes, with all those computers and iPad, Jason saw the photo apparently. Check in Discord. You have control over your audio settings, Barry.
So should I mute the
unmute? Hit the
and
no. Leave StreamYard. Where you're going to be heard in two places.
Okay.
So, well, and he's going to hear it in two places too. But go
there
into the settings for Discord.
There he is. He's good now.
Okay. Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
So, if you don't know Barry Falk, Barry is well known for traveling the world over and surprising people and showing up at their houses. But we haven't seen Barry in a couple of years in real life, and for obvious reasons. But we asked him this time. You were actually invited, right, Barry?
Yes. this time I was invited. I don't like that. I prefer to show up unannounced.
Exactly. That's all new. So actually, Pat Dengler is here in the house too. She is preferring to stay mostly off camera, but maybe Pat. She could stick her head in. There she is. Hi, Pat.
Hi.
So actually,
this is really hard for me.
Is it? What, being on screen? No.
I'm shy and introverted. No one believes me.
Nobody's fallen for it, right?
Exactly.
You won't have to stay on too long.
Can you make it be the three of us?
Yes, I think. I think
because he's wee tiny.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Nice. You Gary see this wonderful shirt I have.
Yeah. Where'd you get that shirt, Barry?
I got it in Fort Collins. Mary's Mountain Cookies, one of the best places you can buy cookies the size of manhole covers.
Ooh, let me guess. Chocolate chip.
Absolutely.
Soft?
Soft, but they dip them in chocolate as well.
Oh.
Chocolate lover's dream.
Jeez, that does sound good. So Kevin says you need a Starbucks mug. Actually, you've Rose has met you in real life, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody else ever met Barry before?
Oh, I'm sure several people here have.
Yeah, I saw Jason about a year ago.
Dying here, chocolate, double dip chocolate.
Rick has.
Rick has.
Cool.
Oh, of course, at the Midwest Smack Barbecue.
Yep. Oh, there you go, Jason.
All right. Well, should we should probably get started with the show. What do you think?
Probably.
You're peeking in StreamYard.
Let me bring that down. How about there? Is that a little better?
Yeah, it's quieter, but you still sound peaky.
Peaky.
I'm a little hot too there. I'm going to turn mine down on the recording for... actually, is there a show? Yeah, we're going to do a show. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Right, let's hear if you can hear us. Hear this? Hi, this is Alice. Oh, wrong speakers. Because Discord has, that's totally wrong. Everything's wrong. Hang on. That should be this, and this should be that. And then let's try this recording again. Let me drop in.
So, Barry, did you want to say something, Barry?
Oh, I was actually telling Pat that I was on double mute probation.
Oh, okay. Well, I got the impression you didn't want to stay on, but I can leave your face on. I actually removed me too for much of the show. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I'll be off.
Yeah. So I have muted. Actually, so I've muted Discord, which means you guys can talk over me. You and Steve can talk over me if you want to in Discord, and it's not going to bother me. So if you get bored with listening to me do the live show, you can talk to the live audience. But Steve will take the two of you out of video, which takes you out of audio for me because I'm listening on StreamYard. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So.
All right. I'm going to remove us.
Okay. Al is telling me to do roll call again, but I did roll call before you got here because you got here like right at 5, but like 5 and 30 seconds, I did roll call at 5. So you were so close. You were actually right at the tail end of it. Did I call out Marty Sobo's back again? And actually, I thought Mike was here too. The other Mike. He must have come and go. Oh, there he is. Peon. That's Mike, right? If I got the names right.
Well, in that case, we have 3 mics.
3 mics. Well, Michael,
and Mike.
And Mike. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let me bring that down because, actually, I still got to do my test recording. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. All right, let's see if you can hear playback. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with... All right. And StreamYard, I assume, could hear it. I like the view where it's mostly... Well, I don't know. What do you guys want when I'm recording? Do you guys want this view where Hindenburg is big and I'm little? Or do you want this view where I'm big and Hindenburg's little? You get to pick. It looks better than last week. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So I guess just me big. You don't care about Hindenburg. Okay. That's Sandy. Stephen Barry big is what big wants. Okay. All right. You can keep me big and Hindenburg little. I think Hindenburg's more interesting, but that's okay. What's that?
Got it.
All right. Oh, Jill learned how to use Hindenburg while watching me. That's good. All right. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, February 20th, 2022, and this is show number 876. Well, we've got a liver than usual live audience for the show tonight. Barry Falk is actually in the house along with Pat Dengler. So we've got live show people there and they're in the video on and off. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. But we should probably kick into the show. All right. And now you got to show... Oh, yeah, there's one problem. You can't see the magic of the chapter marks. But... Ooh, I didn't hear anything. Did it work? Yeah, it worked, but I didn't hear the beep. Maybe I have system sounds off. Let's see, where's system sounds going? Track system output. Should have heard it. Well, it worked. That's all I care about. All right. Oh, I've done a big enhancement. I am running dark mode. So you notice there's no reflections on my glasses. At least I hope there isn't. I'm looking over sideways, trying to look at the display. So I'm running dark mode, and I actually had to do something really tricky. I had to change the CSS of the preview in Mars Edit to be black because it previews my website. My website is white, and the white just blares onto my glasses. So I hope you appreciate this amazing video. Oh, and I almost forgot to show you guys. I set up some new lighting. So you'll remember that I just got the Logitech Litra Glow. It's going to make you guys sick, but what I'm doing differently, because Frank sent me a video that explained to do this, is I've got the Elgato Key Light Air way up high there, and I've taken the Litra Glow and I put it on a tripod behind me. So what you get from that, and now I'm going to be all messed up on my camera here. What you get is you can see the definition on this side of me, like my hair isn't just one black blob on the left-hand side. So yeah, dark mode definitely helps with the glare. Let me just show you, I'm going to bring a window in that has white. Look at my glasses. No glasses, or no white window, white window. See how dramatic the difference that is? So it's not the lights that have been glaring, it's the white windows that were causing the problem. I probably could make it even better by making my desktop background dark. But yeah, it's a huge difference. So I aim to please. All right, we are going to talk about chit chat here for a quick minute here. And the only thing is I don't like dark mode, so it's kind of hard for me to read. Big difference. Wait, oh, you're coming in from Titanbot. Aw, thanks, Kevin. He says my hair is beautiful no matter what I do. Oh, we got a full house tonight. Everybody must have known Barry was going to be here. All right, here we go. This week's installment of Programming by Stealth has Bart Bouchatz back to take us down memory lane to 102 episodes ago when he first introduced us to the concept of test-driven development for our programming. He explains why back then he taught us how to use QUnit for our test-driven development work and why it's no longer in favor with him. It's not just the advancements in technology like ES6, but it's also because QUnit makes it terribly hard to write tests and, more importantly, to interpret what you've written when you've been away from them for a while. He walks us through his criteria for picking a new test-driven development tool and why he chose Jest for the job. He then walks us through a worked example of how to write some simple tests on a module, and of course, explains how Jest does its job running our tests. I liked it, even though my head hurt a little bit during part of it. Anyway, you can, of course, find this in your podcatcher of choice by looking for Programming by Stealth or Chit Chat Across the Pond. All righty. Ooh, maybe I should save. Has anybody been telling me to do that?
Yes, I think I see it right there.
Do I have Firefox? Oh, I have Firefox turned down. That's why you're so quiet. Okay. Save what? Exactly. Get rid of that one. Okay, so now push my button. So Pat is is here, and she's the one that convinced me to get a Stream Deck by actually loaning me her Stream Deck, and she's going to get hers back tonight, I think. All right, magic. Save this sausage. Oh, I like this. Did you see what Barry wrote? Save and add chapter markers because Kevin commands it. Barry's going to try to buy it. No, I tried to buy it off of her, and she wouldn't sell it to me, so she better not sell it to you. Here we go. All right. Oh my God. No.
What?
Oh no. Oh
What?
no. Hang on. When you look at this blog post, does it have funny characters in it?
Which blog post?
Easier, faster web searches. No.
It doesn't.
Okay, you
mine's
sure?
Clean. Mine's clean.
Like the first letter, I've got the funny characters in this.
No, I don't, but I'll do a refresh.
Oh God, if that's wrong too. Oh, God. Okay, it looked okay when you read it. Let me just check.
No, it's fine here.
Okay. So it's a okay, that's another problem. This will be very interesting. Oh, but this will help me answer my question. Sandy, remember when you said in checking for typos there was a double quote? Do you remember where that double quote was? Because I can tell you whether or not there really should be a double quote. I think maybe there shouldn't. Was it on the apostrophe? Oh, wow. This is interesting. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back and I think I can read it looking at it like this. I'll come back and read what Sandy says because I will know the answer to her question. All right. I wish it was easier for me to add a window for you to for me to share. Let me see if.
Well, throw one up. I can see if I can grab it.
I don't know if I can share two. Can I share another one?
I think so.
No.
Just
no,
one?
I'd have to stop. No, it's
Well,
not worth it. Here's what I'm looking at. This is what I'm seeing. It was on N dashes. Okay. I'll have to see. There may not be any N dashes in this one. That's what I'm looking at. I can do it. All right.
You're going to read that?
Yep.
All right.
It is too hard. I would have to do some stuff, messy stuff. All right. Okay. Here we go. Drink. I'm reasonably skilled at searching the web, especially using a little search trick I learned years ago. Let's say you want to find the diagram I made for all of the new Pro and Max MacBook Pros, the 14 inches. No, it's not just the 14 inches. I'm reasonably skilled at searching the web, especially using a little search trick I learned. I'm reasonably skilled at searching the web, especially using a little search trick I learned years ago. Let's say you want to find the diagram I made for all of the new Pro and Max 14-inch MacBook Pros. You know it's somewhere on podfeet.com, and you could navigate there first and then use my search box. But if you're already at your search engine of choice, there's a better way. Simply type your search terms, followed by the word site:/URL. Okay, no, I can't read this. And there's a bug flying around. That's why I'm waving at my face. I've got a bug on my glass.
Can you try and bring it up? Or is it in Mars Edit or is it just the post itself?
It's in Mars Edit.
Why not just look at the post? The post is clean. You know, the actual posted blog post.
I can do that, but I don't like doing that. And now you're going to be looking at bright white again.
Oh.
Okay. We're just going to go with the glare because I got to deal with that later. All right. Okay, we're going to just start over again. I'm reasonably skilled at searching the web, especially using a little search trick I learned years ago. Let's say you want to find the diagram I made for all of the new Pro and Max 14-inch MacBook Pros. You know it's somewhere on podfeet.com, and you could navigate to podfeet.com first and then use my search box. But if you're already at your search engine of choice, there's a better way. Simply type your search term followed by the word site:/podfeet.com in this example. You could just do any search. God, why am I fumbling so much? Last call. Whatever I do this time, it's sticking. I'm reasonably skilled at searching the web, especially using a little search trick I learned years ago. Let's say you want to find the diagram I made for all of the new Pro and Max 14-inch MacBook Pros. You know it's somewhere on podfeet.com, and you could navigate there first and then use my search box. But if you're already at your search engine of choice, there's a better way. Simply type your search term, followed by the word site: and the URL of the site. In this example, where I'm going to look for the two words diagram and max on podfeet.com, I would type in diagram max site:/podfeet.com. This will give you a list of search results in your search engine site. In my example, the first result will be a link to my blog post containing the diagram to help you choose the right 14-inch MacBook Pro. If you'd rather do this, you can type site:/URL of site first and then follow it with the search term. So you could put the search term before or after site: and the URL. This little trick will become important later in the story. I use this method to search sites all the time because it's often difficult to find the search box on the site I want to search. Why bother looking for that search box if I can get the result I want while at the comfort of my search engine's homepage? It's a great method that really allows me to narrow my searches down quickly to the relevant website. I search podfeet.com so often with this method that I created a text expander snippet for it. But on a recent Clockwise podcast, Dan Morin brought up a way to do this even more easily for sites you search often, using a free Safari extension that works on macOS, iPadOS, and iOS. This extension is called Keyword Search. I'll explain how to install and configure the extension in a moment, but first, let's talk about how it solves the same problem, but in a more efficient way. With the Keyword Search extension enabled, you can type a single letter or just a few letters to designate the site you want to search, followed by your search terms. Let's say you want to search Wikipedia for warthog. With the Keyword Search extension, you can simply type into your search bar W space warthog, and you'll immediately be directed to Wikipedia, open to the warthog page. You don't have to navigate to Wikipedia after searching, you're already there. I think that's kind of magical. When you install the Keyword Search extension, it comes preloaded with a bunch of common websites, like the Wikipedia example I just used. This is useful not just because it saves you some work, but by perusing the examples, you start to learn how the extension does its magic, and you'll learn how to make your own little keywords for the searches you do often. By inspecting the Wikipedia example, you'll see that you can have multiple options for the keyword. For example, you can trigger a search of Wikipedia with W or WI or SW. Think Search Wikipedia, so SW works. The examples also demonstrate that you might have to do a little bit of sleuthing to create your own keyword searches for the websites you search often. There's two main advantages of the Keyword Search extension. Firstly, you type fewer characters. Secondly, you are immediately taken to the website you're searching instead of having to click again from your search engine to get to the website. Because we're using a Safari extension, any keyword search you create on any iOS or Mac device is automatically available on all of your other iCloud connected devices. While typing out site:/wikipedia.com space warthog on the Mac isn't that bad, it's a game changer to only have to type W space warthog on a tiny iPhone keyboard. Now, hopefully I've intrigued you enough with this concept that we can take a step back and walk through the installation and setup of the Keyword Search extension for Safari. Now, most people have installed extensions into browsers before, but since extensions on iOS Safari are brand new, I'm going to walk through it in case you haven't done it before. For completeness' sake, let's explain it on macOS Safari first. On macOS, if you open Safari, in the menu bar, you select Safari and then Safari Extensions. This will open the Mac App Store, showing you all of the extensions available for Safari. Search for the Keyword Search extension, or better yet, go to the link in the show notes and that'll take you directly to Keyword Search in the Mac App Store. Once you've found Keyword Search in the Mac App Store and installed it, inside Safari you need to go into Safari Preferences and then to the Extensions tab to enable it. It's an easy step, but it's always confusing to me that if I go to the menu and I select Safari Extensions, I don't see my extensions. I'm back in the App Store. Okay. Enough whining about the App Store. All right, switching gears to iOS, again search for Keyword Search in the App Store. Surprisingly, you can also use the same link I gave you to Keyword Search for the Mac, but if you access this link from your iPad, iPhone, or iPod Touch, you'll get the correct version of the iOS App Store. Once an extension is downloaded to your iOS device, you need to enable it there too. Open Settings, Safari, Extensions, and tap on Keyword Search and toggle it on. You'll notice in this same menu, there's a link to look at more extensions. This will take you into the App Store to discover more extensions like the awesome 1Password extension. It made me really happy when I toggled on Keyword Search in iOS extensions, and I noticed that it explicitly says Keyword Search does not have permission to read, alter, or transmit content from any web pages. Gotta love that. All right. Once you have Keyword Search installed and activated, on macOS you'll see a new icon in the toolbar that looks like a little magnifying glass. On iOS, there isn't enough room to have a proper toolbar, so they collapse all extensions into an icon of a puzzle piece. On the biggest iPhones and on iPadOS, you'll see the puzzle piece right in the URL field. But if your phone isn't huge, tap on the AA icon to find the puzzle piece where it's clearly labeled Manage Extensions. Tap on the puzzle piece to reveal all of your extensions, one of which will be Keyword Search. From here on out, Keyword Search is identical on macOS and all iOS and iPadOS devices. As I mentioned earlier, when you select Keyword Search in your list of extensions, you'll see it's pre-populated with some common websites to show you how easy it is to configure. For example, you'll see in the dropdown Amazon-SA. Let's break this example down to how it was created. If you tap on the chevron to the right of any of the examples, you'll see the fields you can fill out to create your own search keywords, or you can modify the ones they've created for you. Firstly, you give it a human-readable name. In this example, they called it Amazon. You can name it anything you want when you create the keyword search. You could call it pancakes, but maybe using the name of the site makes sense. The next field is for keywords. You'll see in the Amazon example that they've used SA to mean search Amazon. You can add additional keywords if you like. Perhaps AZ would be an easy to remember keyword for you. Simply separate the keywords with commas and you're in business. Now think about trading off how often you search a site against how many characters you want to search. I search podfeet.com all the darn day, so SP is a super short keyword for me to search my favorite site. Keyword search comes pre-populated with keyword searches for Amazon, archive.org, Down for Everyone or Just Me, DuckDuckGo, eBay, Google, oddly enough, Google Images, Google Maps, IMDb, Stack Overflow, Wikipedia, Wolfram Alpha, and YouTube. Now, if you only ever use keyword search to search the sites that the developers already set up for you, you can stop learning right now. But if you'd like to tailor the extension to search sites not already in the list, such as podfeet.com, then we have to do a little bit more work. The next section is entitled Expansion, and that's where things get really interesting. Expansions are URLs that include the website you want to search, plus what's called a query string after the URL. Now, you've probably seen query strings before, but you may not have known what they were called. If you've ever noticed a question mark followed by more text in a URL, that's a query string. The big trick here is that, or I should say the tricky bit here, is that websites don't all use the same pattern for searching with a query string. You need to do a bit of sleuthing, as I mentioned, to figure out what pattern they use. But it's not hard. It's just kind of weird. Start at the website you want to be able to search with the extension and use their search box to search for something. The URL that gets returned will show you the pattern you're going to need for keyword search. I think an example is in order. Let's say you're a big fan of the Starts with Small Steps podcast by Jill from the North Woods. I mean, who doesn't love that podcast? Navigate to smallstepspod.com and use Jill's search box to search for anything you like. I'll search for weight loss. In the URL bar, after I do that search, it returns https://smallstepspod.com/?. There we go. Now we know we have the search query coming. And then it says equals weight plus loss. To create a new keyword search entry for smallstepspod.com, we can tap the Add New button, enter the name, Small Steps Pod, and choose a keyword or two. I chose SSP. For the expansion, I'll copy in the URL I got back from searching her site, but I'll stop before I put in weight plus loss. So now it's just going to say https://smallstepspod.com/?S equals. Now we have to do one more thing here, and that's to add a placeholder for the search term, which is @ the @ symbol 3 times. I know that sounds super clumsy, but when you see it written, it's not that bad. It's one of those things that takes way longer to try to describe clearly than it does to execute. Now, smallstepspod.com is a pretty sensible looking example. So don't get intimidated if you see a really weird looking one. I mean, hers is literally $S equals. That's all it has on it. I mentioned that we've pre-populated the extension with the search for eBay, and it is super weird. Instead of $S equals, like Jill's site, eBay search ends with /_NKW equals. I have no idea what that means, but it's just as easy to copy and paste from a test search as any other site. Now, I've added a few sites I search all the time, but to be honest, the sites they included are most of what I need. This week, I was trying to download an update to an application, but the website wasn't responding. I remembered that keyword search include down as a keyword for Down for Everyone or Just Me.com. So I typed down, space, and the site I wanted to get to, and discovered the site I needed was indeed down. Now, I normally search for images by using my URL bar in Safari to search Google, and then I hit the Images tab to get the results I want. This week, I needed an image, and I simply typed GI in my search bar, followed by what I was looking for, and boom, on Google Images, there were all the images I wanted to see, done in one step. Now, one of the sites I search often is Bart's Programming by Stealth show notes. You can imagine I'm there a lot. These are at pbs.bartificer.net. Now, unfortunately, the keyword search extension won't work on his site because it's what's called a static site. That means it's not being generated by a server-side tool like WordPress, so there's no way to send a query string to it. His site is actually a set of pages created by GitHub, the version control system used by most programmers. By using GitHub pages, Bart and I can collaboratively work on the text even at the same time and then push our changes to GitHub, which will in turn auto-generate the pages. Now, limitations come with this approach. Have you noticed there's no comments, for example? But from Bart's perspective, that lack of flexibility is a lack of complexity, which means it's an advantage. He has far less to manage than I do with the WordPress installation. Ask me how much fun I've had putting with WordPress in my database this week. You're about to hear about that. Anyway, while I was disappointed that I couldn't use keyword search to take me right to the results I want on pbs.bartificer.net on whatever device I was using, I came up with a workaround that will get me partway, but not all the way to what I want, but it's still pretty good. I took advantage of the text replacement functionality for macOS and iOS to create something like keywords. Remember our trick that if we type site : followed immediately by the URL you want to search, you'll get search results only for the site you requested? Well, using that idea, in System Preferences, Keyboard, Text, I created a text replacement that would let me search the Programming by Stealth show notes just as quickly as with keyword search. In text replacements, I told it to replace SB with site : pbs.bartificer.net. Now, text replacements expand instantly if you type a space after them. So now, if I want to search the Programming by Stealth show notes right from the URL bar in my browser, I can type SB followed by the search term I want. SB automatically expands to say site : pbs.bartificer.net, so the only search results I get are within the PBS show notes. Now, this is pretty cool, and since text replacements sync over iCloud, I can use that on any of my iOS or macOS devices. It's not as cool as the keyword extension, though, because it leaves me on my search engine's homepage. If the term I was searching is only mentioned once on a site, I'd much rather be taken right to the site instead of having to click again to get there. It's not terrible, but it is an extra step, and automation is all about eliminating extra steps. Now, there's one more part of keyword search we should cover. In advanced settings, if you scroll down on any one of the keyword searches that have been set up, there are 3 sections under that advanced settings. Remember when I searched for weight loss on smallstepspod.com, the search query put a plus sign between weight and loss because URLs don't work with spaces in them, so there must be a separator. In keyword search's advanced settings for individual sites, it explains that the default is to replace spaces with plus. But for a specific website, it may use a different character to separate the words in the search. When you do your test search to get the right format for the query string on a site, be sure to put in a couple of words so you can pay attention to what separator they use between the words. If it's not just a plus, just add that separator you do find in the space replacement section under Advanced Settings. The next advanced setting allows you to choose whether or not to URL escape the search phrase. Escaping in computer lingo means replacing characters that might be misinterpreted incorrectly because they're unexpected. For example, if you use the search box on smallstepspod.com for weight loss without putting quotes around it, you're likely to find every time Jill talked about weight or loss. But if you put the search term into quotes, you narrow your search term down to just where she talked about weight loss. But query strings in URLs can't contain quotes, so keyword search needs to substitute characters for those quotes. If you have the URL escape box checked, which it is by default, and you enter the keyword search followed by weight loss in quotes, keyword search will replace both of those quotes with %22, which, believe it or not, is the official way to encode those pesky spaces in URLs. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, just leave that checkbox for URL escape checked and move along. Now, if you uncheck the URL escape box in the keyword search query string, you will still get search results, but they'll be in your search engine, not in the site directly. There must be some edge case where this is useful, but I've never come across a circumstance where I need it. The final setting under Advanced is interesting. By default, you're expected to put the keyword search first and follow it by the search term, but there's a drop-down to allow you to put it at the front or end of what you type. This would allow you to type weight loss space SSP or SSP space weight loss. If you want to be able to change all sites to allow the search term before the keyword, there's a global setting you can change as well. The bottom line is, I've managed to make this sound much more complicated than it actually feels to use it. As I said, if you're happy using keyword search to search Amazon, archive.org, Down for Everyone, DuckDuckGo, eBay, Google, Google Images, Google Maps, IMDb, Stack Overflow, Wikipedia, Wolfram Alpha, and YouTube, then you never need to learn how to make your own queries. But if you want maximum flexibility, now you know how to do it. Keyword search is free and open source, licensed under the Mozilla Public License 2.0, and it collects no data from you, and it will improve your productivity by reducing typing on Mac, iPad, and especially on the iPhone. If I could find a button to buy coffee for Norwegian developer Arne Martin Arlian, I would totally push that button. Oh, I'm tired.
How are we doing, Barry? You still with us?
You're muted, Barry.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
okay.
Just checking in to see if you wanted to comment on anything.
No, I thought that was amazing.
You're good. All right.
Well, be entertaining because I'm tired of talking for a minute.
Let's make sure you get the link pasted in properly.
Yeah, I got to deal with this mess I've got
Ed
here,
wants
though.
you to take a breath.
Ed wants me to take a breath.
That was
That's
a long
interesting. Oh, Ed's coming in as a type bot, but I bet you're typing on podfeed.com.
Probably.
That's good, too. I thought that was broken.
No, I think it's working now.
What is that? That's
Let me
Firefox.
see if he's in the sidebar.
Okay. Where's my preview? Here we go.
Yeah, he shows as a bot coming in through typing.
Yeah. That was a massive post. Yeah. Let's see. I write a lot, you guys. And it takes a long time. Let's see. Don't forget to. I'm doing it now. You thought that was nerdy. All right. There we go. All right. I have saved and I have chapter marked. Let's see how this one looks. If this one's got funny encoding, I'm doomed. No, this one's fine. Wonder if it just hasn't been pulled down since this story. Why does a Command W close Windows in Firefox?
Is this the story of Doom?
Oh, geez. No. Oh, geez. Command Shift W. That's annoying. Yes. Okay, that doesn't work either. Oh, yeah. This is horrible. This is a long one, too. I don't want to tell this story. It's too depressing. Dash site is interesting if you want to search for things not on podfeed.com. It's hard to believe something's not on podfeed.com. I did some math. I believe I've written 42 million words so far on average, or if I average out how much I think I write per week.
Wait, 42 million per week?
No, total. If I look at how many, I average about 5,000 words a week.
Oh, and multiply
and I've been
that
doing
by
it
17
for
years.
Coming up on 17 years. I think that's 42 million, isn't it? 5,000 times 17 times 52. Yep. Did I say 44? 4 million, 4.4 million.
Well,
not that many.
Just a drop in the bucket.
All right. Here we go. I mentioned last week during the show that podfeed.com had slowed down to a crawl, but I didn't know why. I thought it might be interesting to understand a little bit behind how the site works and what Bart and I tried to do and how William Reveal is now our hero. The good news for you is that I don't have a particularly deep knowledge about what we did, so I can't get super nerdy on you. Some nerdy, just not super nerdy. Podfeed.com, like 43% of all websites on the internet, is run on WordPress. Okay, that was a nice noise. Let me get rid of that. Nice. What was that? A motorcycle going by? Podfeed.com, like 43% of all websites on the internet, is run on WordPress. Every word I type, along with every comment you make on the site, are stored in a MySQL database. WordPress takes the data from the database and displays it in your web browser and uses the settings I've given it to control things like how big the title of the posts are, what color links are, and whether there's a sidebar or top menus. WordPress and MySQL, along with the web server software and operating system, are all running on a virtual server that is currently hosted by a company called DigitalOcean. When things started to slow down on podfeed.com, I suggested to Bart that maybe I should just throw money at the problem and increase the capacity of the virtual server at DigitalOcean. I was paying for one virtual CPU with 2 gigabytes of RAM, 50 gigs SSD storage, and a transfer maximum of 2 terabytes per month. That was pretty inexpensive at $10 per month, but for $5 per month extra, I could double the number of CPUs, increase the storage to 60 gigabytes, and have 3 terabytes of data transfer. When Bart and I first talked about it, we weren't entirely sure where the problem was coming from, but he suggested another path to consider. Remember I said the MySQL database was hosted on the same server as WordPress? He explained that I could move the database to a dedicated managed database server. This personally sounded like witchcraft to me at first. I didn't understand how this could even be possible. In a screen sharing session, Bart taught me how this works, and it's incredibly simple. First, I bought a managed database server for $15 a month from DigitalOcean. The database server has one virtual CPU, 1 gigabyte of RAM, and 10 gigabytes of disk. Now, my database is under 500 megabytes, so that'll do just fine. Next, Bart explained how to tell WordPress to point at the new database server. Buried in the giant pile of files that control WordPress is a very simple file called wp-config.php. We'll call it wp-config. In this file, which is literally 28 lines long, including comments, you tell WordPress the location of the database. For coming up on 17 years, the location of the database has been localhost. Bart explained that I simply had to change localhost to the path for the database in a new location, along with, the login and user ID. I couldn't do that yet, though, because I needed to actually move the database itself to the new managed database server. By the way, you notice I said my entire database is under 500 megabytes, and it's everything that's ever been written on the site. That gives you an idea of how small text is, doesn't it? Anyway, in MySQL, there's a dump command that actually means export. The method we planned to follow was to dump the database from the local web server and then import it into the managed database server. And this is where things took a very surprising turn. Bart is cautious, which comes from years of experience being burned, so he suggested I make a copy of my wp-config file and save it with the word orig at the end for original. We made a second copy of the config file and put new on the end. We edited the new config file to point at the new database server instead of localhost. That allowed us to swap the two files in and out as we tested things to see how well they were working. This one step was genius because I ended up swapping back and forth from orig to new about 38 times in this last week. In other words, things didn't go well at all. I'm probably going to make a dog's dinner of this next part of the explanation, but like I said, I don't really understand some of this stuff, but I've got to take a swing at it or else I can't tell the rest of the story. In computing, we use something called character encoding to assign numbers to graphical characters. Only through the process of character encoding can we store, transmit, and transform text using digital computers. For reasons that are baffling to me, there seem to be as many different flavors of character encoding as there are stars in the night sky. The one that seems to be in vogue these days is called UTF-8, but there's also Latin 1. There's one with Swedish, and I remember seeing a Slovakian character encoding in my adventures with Bart. Now, the reason I'm bringing up character encoding is that if you have a character encoding mismatch in your database, weird characters show up on your blog. When we exported the database from my web server and imported it into the database server, characters like apostrophe and n dash got very weird. Apostrophe was replaced with an A with a circumflex on top, the little hat on top, and then a euro symbol, and then the trademark symbol. And n dash was replaced with the A with the hat and just the euro. It was very weird. This told us the character encoding was borked, but how and where did it occur? Bart and I worked with it for a while, trying to compare what the database looked like on my web server, what it looked on the new database server, and Bart was unable to figure out how to fix the problem. Luckily, because of the caution he took up front, I was able to quickly toggle back and forth between the two locations for the database just by switching which WP config I used. Bart was distressed that he hadn't solved it on the first try because it should have been simple. I wasn't terribly worried because at least the site was still working. Now, while time was passing until we could schedule our next play date, podfeed.com basically fell over in a heap. While I was working on the show notes late last week, I was getting up to 40-second page load times. You can imagine how fun that was. It's also why I warned you about it and told you that I was aware that things were not working very well. In the DigitalOcean web interface, I can see a few graphs, including one on CPU load. I could see that my server had been sitting at 100% for quite some time. Going back in time, I could see that this had been happening intermittently over the past few weeks. I decided to go back to my original idea and just throw money at the problem by doubling the number of virtual CPUs. This is much scarier than it sounds. I had to power down podfeed.com in order to resize it. I am proud to report that I searched for how to do it, powered down my own web server, did the resizing, and powered it back up all by myself. Didn't even call Bart. I did it. I was very proud of that. Now, my theory was that with 40-second page load times, the audience wouldn't really notice the difference if it was shut down for a little while. So I put a graph in the show notes that illustrates how after the power down and resizing, podfeed.com was no longer peaking at 100%. I was surprised, though, to see after a while that it would go up to 100%, but it wasn't getting stuck there. Now, before we went down any of these paths, I'd worked hard to eliminate unneeded plugins and even tested turning them all off and turning half back on and measuring the speed, but no single plugin appeared to be the root cause. While I was doing all these tests, I installed a plugin called Query Monitor. It's very cool. It gives me a red banner when I'm logged into my site and shows me how long the page has taken to load. Gone were the 40-second waits, and it was down to more like 6 or 7 seconds, sometimes 2 or 3. Still not great, but I could actually get work done. Now, I asked Bart what our next step would be, and he said, it's time to send up the bat signal to the NosillaCast castaways to see if anyone's an expert in MySQL and all this character encoding nonsense, and would also be willing to step in and try to help. He was at the end of his knowledge and couldn't figure out what to do next. I posted the problem and request for help onto our Slack at podfeed.com/Slack in the Programming by Stealth channel, figuring that's where the nerdiest of nerds hang out. It's actually really, really fun in there. The most awesome William Reveal volunteered to step in and see if he could save the day. I am happy to report that he did indeed save the day. But it wasn't one of those, oh, hey, dummy, all you need to do is moments. It wasn't one of those. He spent 2 solid hours on a Zoom call with me to start. I loved every minute of this Zoom call because William is everything I want in someone helping me. He let me drive, so I learned a lot. He explained what he was asking me to do very clearly, and he let me interrupt him endlessly with clarifying questions. He even listened to my suggestions, and in the 2-hour span, one of my suggestions was actually helpful to what we were doing. Now, at the end of 2 hours, we had tested a lot of ways to try to fix the database, but we had not succeeded. We parted ways to give him some time to noodle some more. He had me export the database from my web server and from the new database server so that he could run experiments on his own. One thing I need to point out, and I didn't say this earlier, is these problems of these funny characters, they're actually in the original database on my server. But we don't know why my current web server can, show the characters correctly, but the new database server makes it not work. We can't figure out what the difference is. We know that the bad characters are in the data, but why can one of them, one database server display them properly and the other one can't? That's what we didn't know the answer to. Well, at 3 a.m. that night, William woke up and realized he needed to do some work for a client, something he needed to get done for them. And after he finished it, he just couldn't stand this not knowing how to fix my problem, and he took to the Googles to try to find a solution. He told me that he tried a lot of methods he found on the interwebs to eliminate these weird characters on export so they wouldn't be in the new database, but they kept failing. And then he found one path that worked. The basic problem with the character encoding of my database is that it's a combination of UTF-8 and Latin 1, so it's kind of double encoded, but we needed this to be all UTF-8. Now, you'd think you would just issue a command to convert it straight to UTF-8, but all methods to do that failed. The solution on which William finally settled converts the database table for the blog post to Latin 1 and then converts it to UTF-8. For the nerdiest of you, I included the full command in the show notes that finally worked for us, but for the rest of you, I will not read it out loud. William also did something else brilliant here. Instead of importing the database to the new server and then changing my WP config to point to the new server and then searching for funny characters, he had a better method. He found a post by its ID that had a funny character in it ahead of time, and then we could just look at that one post in the database to see if it had disappeared. So we were looking at ID equals 8. After dumping the database to a file, after we ran this command that we hoped had fixed it, we ran the command on the file and asked MySQL to show us just that post with ID equals 8, which happens to be my About page, and I clapped my hands with glee to see that the crazy characters were gone. I then mentioned that the miscreant characters were also in the titles. We searched for an ID of one with a problem and ran a similar MySQL command to fix the title table. I then clapped with glee because we saw them go away. Then I mentioned to William that the comments are also probably riddled with the same problem. Evidently, comments are in a bit of a different form than titles or posts because William had to do some jiggery-pokery to construct a somewhat different command, but in the end, he was victorious. We uploaded the newly cleansed UTF-8 version of my database to the new database server. I switched over to the new WP config file, and podfeed.com is now up and running with the web server and the database on 2 different servers, which I still think is weird. So Bart and I chatted after William had vanquished the evil characters, and he said that even though my doubling of the virtual CPUs had helped a lot, he could still see the server hitting the peak for periods of time, so he was hoping that the database move was still the right way to go. The main thing we hope to get from this is faster performance, and I sure hope that ends up being the case. Now, while I'm delighted that podfeed.com is faster, if only for my own sanity while I'm writing, in the bigger picture, the experience reinforced the fact that the NosillaCastaway community is a truly magical group of people. William Reveal stepped up to help all of us, dedicated a great deal of his own time, and I now consider him a friend. The most important thing he did here was to give Bart time. Without William, Bart would still have been beating his head against this when he could, and instead he was able to spend time teaching us programming and how to stay safe on the internet. So thank you, William, for giving all of us this wonderful gift.
Woohoo, William!
Okay, so William's not here. He's at church. He confessed that he was playing hooky from church to be here the last few weeks. But don't get too excited. Don't tell me to give a chapter mark just yet, because there's unfortunately more to this story.
With a future blog post?
No, it's actually in the main show notes.
Got it.
What did I just do? Okay, just close you. Don't change anything. Don't save. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going on the same plot, unfortunately.
So Barry would like you to save. I guess no chapter mark, though.
I did save, but I'm not going to do the chapter mark because things are still wrecked. All right. After I wrote up the article about... Jeez. I was typing while you and Pat were talking, and I didn't make a lot of sense. There we go. After I wrote up that article all about fixing my website and how William was my hero and how he moved my database, and after I doubled the number of virtual CPUs, I asked the entire Slack community to go to podfeed.com and verify that things felt snappier. The vast majority of responses were that it was indeed responding much better than it was before. And then today, forgive my French, but things went in the pooper again. The response time slowed down to like 14-second page loads. Eventually, Steve reported to me that he couldn't log in at all, and the CPU load graphs on DigitalOcean showed it was bumping into 100% CPU utilization again. And remember, this is now on 2 virtual CPUs, so it's twice as much CPU load as I had before. I tried to take a look, and WordPress had lost connection to the brand new shiny database on the dedicated server. I pinged William, and just as we were starting to figure out what was wrong, it healed itself. William and I crawled every log file we could find looking for some root cause to this high CPU usage. We were unable to find anything concerning. Bart and I chatted quite a bit after that in text, and we still don't know the root cause. Now, there's a chance that my site is being attacked, but in a way that doesn't generate network traffic. Bart explained to me that you can make a very small HTTP request, such as search all of podfeed.com for the word pancake, and that would generate a lot of CPU load. The good news is that with a free Cloudflare account, I should be able to put my website behind their defenses, which are designed to ward off all kinds of denial of service attacks. When Bart can schedule some time to read up on what answers I should give to the questions Cloudflare are asking me as I try to set it up, we'll give it a try. While this does seem like the right step forward, I don't know, I'm not feeling confident we're on the right path since we really don't know what the heck is going on. I am learning a lot, and I stand by my statement that William is my hero, but I would sure like to get all of this behind me.
Whew.
Okay, save. I think I'll do a chapter mark. I need a button
Let's
for
check
chapter
that.
marks. What's that?
We're going to check that.
Check what?
We're just going to observe your chapter mark insertion.
Oh, I've
Make
got to do
sure.
this one by hand because I still haven't support the show. Patreon.
Oh, for people that want to go right to support the show in your blog, in your
Yeah.
podcast.
There we go. All right. Buttons aren't toys. Stream Deck button. Save and chapter mark. Yeah, I can't quite do all of that together. Could save, but I've got my hands on the keyboard, so I'm okay for that. Nope, that's not it. As you've heard in this explanation of trying to solve all these terrible problems with podfeed.com, I've incurred $20 a month more in the cost of running podfeed.com. If you've been on the fence about becoming a supporter of the show, this week would be a really swell time to join the other hero supporters. Remember that while I've set Patreon up to ask you to support on a per episode basis, you can always set a monthly maximum so you can really control how much you spend. Ryan Walden has been a supporter of the podcast for a long time, but this week he actually upped his pledge by $2 a month. If we can get a few more people to become patrons, this faster experience from which we hope you'll all benefit won't come out of my own pocket. Thank you, Ryan, for being so awesome for so long and being even more awesome now. All right. Chapter mark. There's my button push. Copy link. So I can't show you, unless I shared my entire screen, I can't show you the keystroke actually happening in person or for real. I can only show one window at a time, or I can show my whole screen. What am I looking for? I'm looking for Security Bits music. Where is it? There it is. Okay. We're in the home stretch. 3 minutes. I got 3 minutes.
So let me ask a question.
Oh, shoot.
You have a link in there right now, which is a duplicate from above, chit-chat 715.
That's the wrong link. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm going to go do an... Oh, no, I can't do it from this one, can I? No, I need to do it in Safari. Why does a Command W close Windows in Firefox? Yeah, we're staying late after class because I've got to figure this out. Oh, I could have used my Stream Deck. I got a button for that. Blog post. No echo. Echo. What am I looking for? Looking for security bits, aren't I? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Luckily, I have a fine keyboard whatever it's called.
Maestro.
Keyboard Maestro macro.
That's like the Max Pro MacBook Pros. Max.
Exactly. Okay, so now I need to get rid of this chapter mark. And I need to do a new one. That means I got to go back here. There we go. I'm so glad you noticed that. That would have been really annoying.
Yeah.
Push a button. Okay, how about security bits instead? There we go.
Someone is saying that they are hearing an echo in Discord for you, but not sure.
Really?
Everyone. Oh, John says it stopped. It's coming and going.
That's fun. I'm having a week, kids. All right. And I did not go get...
Blaming Barry.
Blame Barry? Yeah, why not? Let's see. Bart Ellison share. There's Bart's. I didn't...
Fair enough.
Let's see. This is Secret Bird. Yep. Bart. And move him into the right folder. And then I got to go find mine. Audio hijack. Ooh, I hope it's this one. Oh, gosh. We went a long time. How's an hour and 5 minutes?
Woo. Just for security bits.
Yep.
So you're going to be at like an hour and 40-minute blog post or podcast.
Yep. Okay, so now I've got the files. So now let me drag one in here, and let's drag this one in here, and let's do this. And I've got I'm not in the live show button. We're got to be here. No, it should be in editing. That button. That was way harder than using a keystroke.
Wait, you didn't get rid of the plink already, did you?
No, no. That would be crazy talk. We got to play the plink. We got standards here.
Blink.
How's that, Steve?
Well done.
Blink.
I actually did something with who was I
we are
recording with?
officially late now.
Yep. I'm aware.
All right.
I said I was keeping the class late. Didn't you hear
What do
me?
you think, Barry? Should we call it?
I think it's about time to call it.
Just, when the people in your own house don't even have patience to stay with you.
I think Barry's getting hungry.
We're all getting
Less
hungry over here.
stormy on the
Hungry and
Podfeed
thirsty.
server.
Oh my gosh. You're a terrible person, Barry. You
Yes.
channeling your inner Kevin or something?
Hey, now, don't person my guy.
Time's fun when you're having flies is what the frog said. That's a good one. All right, let's hear all the jingle sound. More awesome now. Well, it's that time of the week again. Too soon?
A touch. I think you could let it go, though.
Nope. Perfection is required.
I'd say 5 milliseconds to the right.
Well, it's that time of the week again.
There you go.
There you go. All right, go to the end. And let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's joy in your life.
So do as I do, not as I say. If you want it to be a happy place, be happy, and it will follow.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, well, I think that's all I got. So remember, folks, until next time, stay patched so you stay secure.
All right. Oh, I got to read again, don't I? Forgot. Here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know that you can email me anytime you want? You can email me at allison@podfeed.com, and I'll probably respond. I usually do. If you have a question or a suggestion, or you want to send in a review, just send it on over. You can follow me on Twitter @Podfeed. And if you want to join in the fun of the conversation, you need to go join our Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack. And if you're super nerdy, join that Programming by Stealth channel because it's awesome. Anyway, you can talk to me, all of the other lovely NosillaCastaways, my hero, William Reveal, and it's just great fun. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You want to help pay those new server bills? You can support the show by going to podfeed.com/Patreon, or you can give me a one-time donation at podfeed.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Barry did in real life here, and a very odd twist of things, anyway, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed.
Oh.
Okay. And then
Great show. I love these long ones.
do you? Good.
Well, especially because Bart's at the end there.
Yeah. I always wondered if I gave you a chapter mark to Bart, would people just skip ahead? It's like, you know what? If they get the content they want, that's fine. If I ride his coattails, I'm good.
Order.
What's that?
I often listen in reverse order, so I'll listen to you and Bart, and then go back to the start of the show.
Oh, really? Huh. And enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. A little bit to the right there. All right. I think we are good.
Yep.
Oh, chapter count. I think it's
Okay.
like 3, isn't it? No, 5.
No, I think it's
Count support the show.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. There are 5 lights. All right. Well, I think we should let everybody go because you got to cook dinner for everybody now.
Yeah.
Wait, I want Pat to stick in her head and wave goodbye to everybody. Bye, Pat. That was nice of you to let her in, Barry. Yes, Ed, there are 4 lights.
Very nice of you.
Yeah, this is fun. All right, guys. Say goodbye to Rose. Mwah. Bye, Rose.
Everybody.
Bye, Rose. Bye, Gracie.